I'm happy to have on the show today Ari Tula. He's the CEO of ELO Health. They do personalized daily nutrition. And Ari, there was a major thing that happened in your life that caused you to pivot from tech to the healthcare space.
I'm like many other healthcare entrepreneurs who are not from the healthcare, not the doctor, not the nurse, not the clinician. We had a health scare over 20 years ago. My wife had a thyroid tumor that led into removal of half the thyroid, removal of part of the thyroid function that is regulating your hormones and your balance in life. And it gave us a verdict that we can never have a family. We spent about a decade of trying to find the right way and a way to solve that problem. And finally, we were able to get pregnant and very unfortunately lost our first son. He died. So that was my long battle, I think, on this. One of the key pieces in your life that you want to have a family, you want to have kids. And today we have two healthy kids. That experience led me to move from the tech into healthcare. And now I'm building my third company and have invested in about 50 companies in this space.
You're invested in 50 companies in the space.
Yeah, in healthcare broadly.
I want to know more about that. How do you get invested in 50 different companies in healthcare?
Yeah, so I decided over a decade ago, maybe 12 years ago now, when I did this pivot, I started to build first company called Better Doctor. It was a doctor finder app. At the same time, we sold most of our possessions and we pulled money together and built a small family office called Do Good Ventures. It's been a hidden thing that we've been investing on the side with my wife. No external investors, no LPs. And I've just been deploying money to people that I know, my friends, people I've met along the way. Many of the people are building the second or third or fourth or even fifth company. And maybe they did before something like gaming or social networking companies or stuff like that. But many of us, when we get older, we want to work on stuff that really matters. And many people gravitate into healthcare or human performance, education, or things that really are important for us. So that's been our thesis. Invest in companies that are making the world a better place in the context of human performance or healthcare. And many of the companies have done exceptionally well. We are a tiny investor. We put between 10,000 and 100,000 to maybe a bit more. But it's been really cool to be able to invest very early in some companies like Aura, Ring, and Verda Health, and other companies that are now hundreds of thousands or thousands of people and making an impact globally.
So you're hitting winners here. And that doesn't normally happen when you're investing in early stage startups. So what is it? What's your secret here?
Like I said, I see the movie a few times. I was
Yeah.
involved in the first startup by 99 in the first big internet bubble. And then I was building a Better Doctor in the just after the collapse of 90 or 2008 and 9. And now I'm building another company again from the ground up, ELO, when we have another downturn, at least on the funding perspective. So there's a book about founders and what makes a company thrive. It's called The Super Founders. And in that book, I think it's the only book about with statistical data about the startups and what makes them succeed. And the only thing they found out is that the companies that are more likely to succeed are people who have done it a few times. So yes, there are massive big companies like Facebook and others that have been built by first-time founders, but often people have done one thing or another and failed, and then they are building the second or the third, and that becomes a big company. So there's a some sort of truth to the madness in a way, and there's a process to build a company. And I've been doing it now 4 or 5 times myself, and then I also been involved often as an advisor, a small investor, or even as a board member, and seen the movie many times. So maybe you learn something.
You look for those who have failed before and have done it many times, or maybe succeeded
You
in a
have to.
couple of
I
them.
mean,
I mean,
failing
I
is
like the strategy. It's clearly working
such
for
a
you.
negative word often, but you need to fail forward. And I think the most important thing in building a company or building a good life is to be brave and try new things and not to get stuck with failure or things that don't work. Just move on. The motion is really the key thing that you have to have. Nobody knows what the company should do in a year. Nobody knows what you should do in your life or what will happen in your life in a year from now. So you better live in the now and do the right things today.
So, what are you doing with this particular venture, ELO Health?
Yeah, so I had two kind of threads in my experience when we were struggling with health. We learned a lot about how do you find the right care. So we used to live in Finland and in Europe, moved to the US about 15 years ago in the middle of our personal drama. And it was pretty hard when you go from the US healthcare system, oh, you go from the European healthcare system where you are given a doctor. You don't pick a doctor, you are given somebody. Then you come to the US. I was at the time an executive at Nokia, the small Finnish cell phone company. And you come to the US and you have this gold plated health plan that you can go to any doctor you want. There's million doctors out there. So how do you know who is the right one? And we went through, I don't know, 50 different people. And in the end we got good care. But then when we had another incident with my son who we lost, we didn't have the right care every time. I don't blame anyone. That it wasn't one person, but it was really tough to navigate the system. And when you are at your weakest, you then tend to be in a spot that you need to make hard decisions. And you are not at your best. You might be stressed, you might be tired, and so forth. So we try to build a system that will help people find the right doctor when they really need help based on real data. For example, when you are, let's say, you need a primary care doctor, you want to have somebody who you can talk to, relate to, who thinks like you do. Maybe you think more holistic medicine. Maybe you want to have all the medications immediately and now and then, or maybe you want to do a lot of testing. So you want to find the right person who can help you navigate and trust long term. But then if you have you need to be opened up. You need to get your heart surgery. You don't need to have a nice talker. You need to have somebody who has a steady hand and steely nerves and who knows what they're doing. So think about if you want to do a knee operation like ACL, do you want to have a doctor who is a nice talker or the one who has done it 1,000 times? Maybe the latter. So we collected all the data at Better Doctor and made it available for people. And still today, there is nothing like that really available. And we in the end pivoted into B2B and we started to power health insurance companies, 2,000 startups and different companies who do healthcare today. So we became a B2B company. And today, Better Doctor lives as part of a bigger company. We sold to private equity, whatever. So that was a one element, like how do we help people access healthcare? And the ELO was the other story that we have had even more experience, which was about what do we do when you have a complicated medical condition that is like autoimmune disease that you don't know what to do about. There's no blueprint or playbook that your doctor can give you. They basically say, we don't know. And when they say we don't know, of course, if you are suffering at the moment, you want to find a solution. So we spend a lot of time with my wife, and she is really the hero in the story and the expert. We found out that with diet and lifestyle and mindfulness, you can actually lower your body's inflammation, your stress hormones. They increase your inflammation levels. Certain food can do that. So we went with different diets and we found out that there was a diet that was helping her to lower inflammation, and over the years the body was able to heal itself and operate without any medication. Pretty cool. So food became medicine for us. And today I have two beautiful kids who are basically born because of the food was able to help my wife to become pregnant and then have the kids. So they are the reminder for me every day that food is medicine. And I myself, I'm a aspiring athlete still at the age of 45. And you need to think a lot about recovery, and you need to think about how do you train at this age because you are no longer 20. So for me, food has been a key vehicle to improve my recovery and overall my body and my health. So I wanted to build a system at ELO that is taking data from your body, turning it into insight and nutrition plan, and then deliver that plan to people directly. So I'm not giving you insight or PDF or a blog post to read. I'm sending you the nutrition in a form of today we do, for example, personalized supplements that are based on your blood work and your activity and your wearable device data and health questionnaire. We give you powder that is protein, electrolytes, and carbs and supplementation in one powder customized to you every month based on what you have done. After every workout, you could do a run or ride or gym workout. If you track that with some device like Apple Watch, you get a notification after every workout and we tell you, do you need the product and how much? So we are the first company ever to build those loops that are daily and monthly and quarterly, and we show you the outcomes. So it's been pretty rewarding to see thousands of people improve their blood biomarkers. And many of people, the doctors have the best case, I think, in my opinion, are that a doctor has requested a call with us to learn what we have done because this person had, let's say, very high LDL cholesterol for a long time. And then we helped him or her to change that. And then the doctor talks to us and the doctor signs up to ELO. That to me is the biggest win that we have seen so far.
It's just great because it's very holistic in treating the person and not just diagnosing and applying. So as you said, autoimmune, it's a broad label. What does it actually mean? And there's no resolution for it. So it's approaching it from a full lifestyle, mentality, everything type of view.
One aspect that I like to talk a lot about is that I haven't learned a lot. I'm not a clinician, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a hobbyist in a way who happens to run these companies and be neck deep involved. And I'm trying everything myself. I'm the guinea pig always in these things. And you can read at the ELO.health. Our blog is full of testing and articles. We wrote 500 articles about nutrition in the last few years. And often we test things ourselves. Um, but one thing I learned that is kind of interesting is that I'm from Finland, for example. That's why I speak funny. And I have a family that is very narrow genetically because we used to live in this isolated part of the world where there was a small inner sea that kind of broke us from the Europe. And the people used to live there for 50,000 years almost without any connection to anyone else. So we developed a language that is totally separate from any other language in the world. We were pretty much like hunter gatherers still 300 years ago, if you think about how people lived. So what we ate, it's up north in Anchorage, Alaska level, where I was born. So what you eat is game and berries and fish from the lakes and the sea. And if I come from that kind of a pool and I come to the abundance of the US, for example, or anywhere now today, our food systems, I get stuff like white flour, rice, bread, corn. I'm spiking like crazy. Now, nobody in my ancestry ever saw a banana or even like orange. And if I have one, I spike my glucose immediately. If I have white rice, I spike for a long time. And for people who lived in abundance in Southern Asia, for example, there's a lot of these foods available. And they are having a completely different impact on the blood glucose, for example, on foods than I have. So the idea of an ancestral diet is a really interesting question that, you should look. If you have done it like 23andMe, that data might tell you a lot more how should you eat. And think about not how your parents ate, but how did the grandparents ate. And that might be a good diet for you to eat as well. I think the fun thing about this is that I talk to people a lot and people come to me and ask about it used to be that I get 1,000 calls a year about which doctor I pick. And I was helping a lot of people directly because I think it was good use of my time. And now more and more people ask me about food and diet. And I often refer them to talk to ELO experts. We have many dietitians and experts and clinicians in the team. But what I tell to people often is that think about your eating pattern. And many people tell me that I eat very versatile food. I eat Indian food Mondays, and then I eat Thai on Tuesdays, and then I eat Italian on Wednesdays or whatever on Thursday. But think about it. You end up eating the pasta, the rice, and some sort of a noodles. They're all the same stuff. So you eat fast white carbs every dinner and every meal. And then you think you are eating varied diet, but in the end, the macronutrient levels, you are eating pretty poor diet often. And then people are surprised when they do a blood test like at ELO. 90% of people who come to ELO and they test their blood, they find out that something is on yellow or red. And they are often surprised because the healthcare system is never testing you on things like vitamin D or vitamin B or homocysteine or iron. They often test only the lipid panel. And that doesn't tell the whole story.
If somebody wanted to learn more about ELO Health or get in touch, how could they do?
Yeah, you can find ELO at ELO.health. We are available in the US in every state. And as I said, we are offering a few products today, supplements that are based on blood work, and you get the blood work along the system. You also get a coach that you can talk to a dietitian, and then a protein powder that is fortified by carbs and supplements and electrolytes and others, what you need. And you can also access the coach on ELO app. So those are available today, $99 and $59 on the website.
Thank you, Ari, for coming on the show. Everybody make sure to check out ELO and this stuff. I live with this stuff. I have a diet based on where I'm from, and I had a lot of health issues and I solved them. So this stuff works. I can speak from experience. So thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Feeling Success. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'm your host, Chad Kalecki, and we'll see you next time.